that is the Fireside chat on the topic of that rising digital hidden hackers. So I would like to call on stage Mr. Mehzad Sahar, Group Head Information Technology Security, Angro Group. So Mehzad has been 22-year plus experience into the digitalization. He is a keynote speaker onto the many events as well. So he's a C-level security executive and a motivational personality having a good impact onto the information technology arena. So he has been doing a lot of stuff with the global telecom operators, bank, call sector, and FMCG. So please give you a round of applause to Mr. Mehzad Sahar. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. So after having Khwaja Sahab wonderful presentation, where actually he was showing a very blessed world, and after this session, if you are calling people for security, and especially two guys, it looks like Munkar Nakir is coming, right? Because of course, we'll give you scary reports and we'll try to actually scare you. I have Mr. Iftikhar. Iftikhar, please introduce yourself. He is from...
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and a very good evening. My name is Iftikhar Arif and I am representing Murray & Press Pakistan as General Manager Information Technology. As the world takes huge strides towards technological acceleration, which we usually call techceleration, through digital connectivity, I must say that digital exposure has now become a new normal. Pandemic has shifted the business shift towards digitization, but it has also helped in a cyber crimes in a much more sophisticated manner. So that brings us into a new era, which we usually call adversary sophistication. So I'm leading this fire chat today. I'm host for the fire chat, and we have a legend, the icon, Mr. Mehzad Sahar. Thank you for joining us. We have decided to have this fire chat karaoke, and we would love to have some fire from your side as well. So please contribute. Mehzad, plunging hard into the discussion, we have been hearing to digital transformation stories since morning. And as we are aware about cyber security, I would like to start with a very basic question that how it has evolved during the pandemic and what are the new potential threats you see? So what's your views?
Sahar, thank you. So usually we talk very negative about COVID, right? But this time, being the CISO or the information security leader, I would like to thank you, COVID. Why? Because they have started doing my job, especially in the form of security awareness. How come? So how many you are already now aware of a word called quarantinia? So we call quarantine, right? So if someone is infected, he should go somewhere, he should not be someone, and once gonna get recovery, then it's okay to come back and join the family. The same concept is in the form of infected files. Mask, right? So you are putting mask, we are educating people to mask the critical data, right? The sensitive data, the private data should be masked first before we share with other guys, right? For a long time, we are talking about variants are coming, COVID variants are coming. We are very, very scared, and we should be, because in the information security, I can give you example of Stuxnet virus, which was introduced in 2010, and actually it was instrumental to sabotage complete Iranian nuclear power plant. However, although that time it was invented by CIA, however, after 5-6 years, it went into commercial hands, and now then it was found with different variation. The Stuxnet variant was found in RAS gas to compromise their plant by some private hackers. So this variant, mask, right, virus, vaccinations, all these terminology now you are aware, and now you can understand the pain of a Chief Information Security Officer, where not only one virus, you guys are actually fighting with one virus, and globally statistics are saying, as of now where I'm speaking, within 1 second, more than 20 viruses are being developed by these hackers. So millions of viruses are being made on monthly basis, and we, the poor guys are there to go and protect the whole organization. And that's why World Economic Forum says, as per the report for 2021, that out of top 10 risks, number 1 is COVID, number 2 is, let's say, poverty, and out of top 10, there is no technology risk, by the way. So they are talking about environmental issue, but yes, you can take that risk as a technology risk. Number 4 one is cyber security attacks. So that is out of top 10 global level risks which are actually being discussed. So pandemic, as you said, there are blessings, there are negative stuff. Negative stuff is, suddenly we were asked to go back to our home and start, working from home. So it means we were all put at the mercy of a typical PTCL, the technician who usually come and put your Wi-Fi router with a wonderful, most complex password called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And with this password, all of your corporate level laptop were sent back to start actually doing corporate level jobs. And so no matter your machine was put very securely, but ultimately the traffic is going through this type of very loose arrangements. So thank God, we don't have big headlines, but you'll have to improve. And threat perspective, a lot of phishing attacks came. Don't expect these hackers, they have hard hair, okay, because they even start attacking the companies who are making vaccinations. So
Right.
these hackers keep distance and then train yourself to actually combat with them.
Right. After we talk about the security side, cyber security, there is a word that we call it hackers. But usually the perception is that the hackers exist outside the organization. And we've been taking so many measures with respect to the firewalls and security things to avoid such kind of a ransomware and such kind of things. But I would like to know that is the perception of the hackers still exists outside, or do we really feel that there are hackers inside the organization which they really don't know that they are hackers? Especially after the pandemic, when we come from the work from home environment to the organization environment, the risk factor is nowadays on a very higher side, because the perception of the hacking is still considered outside the organization. So
Good question. So I personally feel, I don't know why we have made these hackers very notorious, because
there is a term of ethical hackers as well.
So because the 80% of the threats all over the world, they are happening because of insiders, internal threats, your own people, unintentionally or intentionally. So imagine, as of now, we have not given very big challenges to a typical commercial grade hackers to come and compromise our network, because most of the network, unfortunately, no matter there are big headlines, you go back and check the root cause. The root cause is very simple. Default passwords, basic level, patches are missing, right?
Right.
And if the configuration is like any to any, if your firewall is configured like a short circuit, so from a distance we are all celebrating, great, we have a, next generation firewall, but at the end, it is all of your internal stuff if they don't configure, which is, of course, is a difficult task, because with any to any, you don't need to understand business, but with putting very strong control, you'll have to understand each and every port. You'll have to scratch yourself a lot. So what I want to conclude, that most of the attacks are happening because of these basic fundamental gaps. And as of now, I don't think so we have given any big challenge to these so-called, hackers. Basically, we are making, their life very, very easy. And I'm waiting, God forbid, if something happens, yes, then that I will really assume is a big headline, is a compromise. Otherwise, these are all very, very basic stuff, and we need to pay attention to our internal processes to actually stabilize them.
True. So it's mean that the cyber and the information security threats are always there in any organization.
Yes.
When we talk about, you have already touched that the default password is one of the cause. But after pandemic and after digitization, how can we ensure that we have take more robust measures in an organization, whether it's awareness sessions or training, or should we, build some more controls with respect to the technology side?
Okay, everything comes with its own cost. Digital transformation for a digital transformation officer to go and transform and upgrade different services. No one will understand that if he wants to actually launch a service according to given deadline, there is a complete due diligence is required in the form of security clearance, which is to some extent is a very complex task. And security clearance, let me give you a business level example. I met the chief security officer of our CAA, which is our Civil Aviation Authority. So I asked one very basic question. I have seen that these people are passing through security gates, the so-called radar systems, X-ray machines. So no matter there is pom, 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 you just check and say, yes, yalla, go, leave it.
True.
And I have not seen that for all these pom, 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 you make sure even up to go his thorough X-ray level stuff. His statement was that if we will start investing time up to this level, then no flight in this region will actually fly on time. So we'll have to take some judgmental call based on your experience, based on the passenger, face impression, body language, then they decide. So even though there is pom, 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 yes, you can go. So what I want to say, if the security clearance religiously should happen, ideally speaking, up to a security code level review, we must be taking like months, and no one will actually bear it. So it is a balance which is being created with transformation team and the security clearance team, so to have a win-win situation, so that at the end the business is bringing business which is launching or hosting our salaries. So we'll have to enable them in a very diplomatic way, and something which is not possible in a very perfect scenario can be done in parallel after launching the service.
Perfect. Your example gives me another idea that we've been encountering the same buzzer sound usually at the airport side. But if you compare the same kind of practice internationally, they have to have ensured that without having any sound, then you have to pass out the corridor. So my next question is that usually we are talking about a lot about the digitization, the ERP system selections, and more kind of a thing. So if we are comparing the global world with respect to technology, why not we are comparing the same kind of stuff with respect to the information security side?
So again, let me give you one interesting example. So I used to live in Dubai for like 15 years, and my family, used to love McDonald's, or let me say these big brands. So once we came back, and next time, we went to one of these big names, and we found that we got food poisoning. And we were very upset that how come, these big brands, and they have franchise here, and they are getting this level of quality. And finally, we concluded that big brand is working globally, they maintain this, and once they come here, don't call them XYZ, call them Pakistani XYZ. And with this, actually, you should be expecting this level of quality. Unfortunately, it should not happen, but that is the reality. Second thing is, not all size fit. In a country, and this is a very sensitive example I'm going to give, in a country where people are still waiting for the decisions of their people who were murdered, for more than like 20, 25 years, and the court or big people are silent, and you and me and go in the choraha, you know, my data is breached, my privacy is breached. You can help me. Is there anyone who can help me? So if you are in Europe, it is a GDPR, right? Here we don't have even fundamental level of control. So we'll be really looking, it will be a very awkward situation to ask this level of, you know, control. So it looks fantastic from a distance, but we will have to understand the local reality.
Right.
This is very important.
True. Being a CIO of a distribution company, I would also, you know, encounter the same kind of a thing that the data security is also dependent upon the organizational structure as well. If you are from a banking sector, you have to be more careful, more robust about the controls. But if you are not in a banking sector, other like FMCG and other kind of things, the controls are lesser.
Yes.
So I would like to know that is it just because that we don't have a data dictionary in place like the bankers do have, because they have a very strict guidelines about the state bank, that what kind of a data you have to ensure on the cloud, and what kind of a data you have to store on the premises, what are the leakage chances, and so many things. But in a traditional environment, other than banking sector, we usually prefer to implement a new technology, the new ERPs. Cloud is important, the tools are very important, and we are very least bothered on the security side, because we do believe that this is the basic zimmedari of any vendor or a tool. Instead, that we have to work on a data dictionary or data control side. So we don't have any data definition. Do you really think that when we talk about the digital rising kind of a thing, and we are, potentially discuss the potential threats of the hackers, we have to work on the data dictionary like the bankers are doing, or do you really think that this is not the right time to work on such kind of a things?
Interesting question.
You mentioned the example of the Pakistani airline, that if we check all the parameters, the flight is delayed.
Yes.
So if we check all the parameters, the implementation may be delayed. So what's your take on this thing?
So you see, the information security is combination of three things: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In case of a banking industry, this C or confidentiality is really matters for them. Integrity maybe not valid for them, but look at the recent example of my friend. He said, the Elon Musk. Right now, you are all aware that he has put his all billion-dollar deal on hold. Why? Because he is having a big question mark against the integrity of Twitter, because it looks like most of their accounts, according to his study, they are bot accounts, they are automated accounts, they are not human accounts. So if you are assuming that this is being used by this much of population, if that is not the case, then your whole business case is spoiled, right? So C, I, and A, and in the availability, the people can disrupt your availability, your plant or your critical installation, first exploiting your confidentiality.
True.
How come? Taking your critical data, understanding your architecture diagram, and then attacking and then making you fully disruptive. So this CIA should be religiously followed. The challenge here is that this typical buzzword called DevSecOps, it remain in books, it remain in good, nice presentation, but it has a cost. I know personally many big software houses, great delivery, fancy application. You go and talk about information security. Do you have any internal mechanism to go and pen test yourself before you hand over stuff to us? Believe me, they don't have even one guy to do that. And actually it is mostly being done by the same developer, which itself is a conflict of interest. So basically very big investment coming in the market, but it's like you are launching a sports car but without brake. Would you accept this? I have noticed this, again without naming. There are big brands being launched in Pakistani industry in the name of transformation, but you go and talk about their security, they said, by the way, that comes separately. It has a separate cost. come on guys, it's $1 million solution you have given to me without security. So you're not only putting my reputation in trouble, also your reputation. And mostly these security controls are very, very costly. So ideally it should be part of the default offering. As not being offered, it should be actually having a big question mark. It's like, would you travel to a plane which will give you a Pakistan to American ticket only in, let's say, in 1,000 rupees?
I would love to.
we all would love to. Like a Swiss. There is something wrong, right? You should expect a reasonable, respectful, actually price with this default security values, and then should say, you know, this was already expected. Don't ask me that this will be paid separately.
Absolutely right. That is all about depend upon the mindset and the awareness that what kind of information you are giving to the other person. So, keeping in view the constraint in timing, I would like to ask one last question, and that is a very pertinent to the current situation. We all are aware about the Ukraine kind of a thing. So, any kind of a selection of ERP that server is hosted outside Pakistan. So, what are the challenges you feel or you see in future? Because one thing that we have to focus on a digitization. We have to focus on the ERP side, but mostly ERP servers are placed in Europe and USA. So, keeping in with the current condition of geolocation conditions, do we really think to expand on such kind of a things? Do we wait, or do we plan to have something on premises? Because if we go on premises side, that digital rising is another challenge for us. So what's your take, sir?
So last question, but I think it's a very dangerous question.
I would like to say pom pom pom.
Yeah,
yes,
don't worry.
Thank you.
Security comes with pom pom pom. So the last answer here is that we need to do such type of risk assessment on papers. So God forbid if internet is disturbed, you know, and all of your services are on the cloud, then how you are going to run this? And they say, you know, we have multiple arrangement, and you know, don't worry. But what about this new example, again without putting the company name, where because of geopolitical scenario, they have refused to offer such services immediately to a complete country without understanding or without respecting all of their promises done by their sales people, and in Britain, you know, all they are gone, right? I think this is alarming. This is an actual pop, and where our people should also re-evaluate their risk. Not everything is qualified to be launched on cloud, and if on cloud, better to have your intranet, your own arranged cloud, or if public cloud, better to facilitate a public cloud within Pakistan, encourage companies like PTCL or whoever is offering this tier 3 level of data center. I think we should become self-sufficient, and if not, in a very bare cases, then we should think about going to other, you know, clouds which are outside Pakistan, because this is a new risk, not in books, but actually realized. If it happened to someone, it may happen to us or to any other country also.
Perfect. We would love to ask more questions, but the pom is an alarming factor. So we are officially signing off. If you have any questions, we would love to give you an answer on a tea break or after this session. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mehzad sir.
Thank you. What a nice way to please stay onto the stage. A nice way to throw light onto the ground realities. So I would like to call Mr. Faisal Memen to please come onto the stage and present shield to the both Fireside Chat participants. Thank you. So the first goes for Iftikhar Arif. The second one, our pom master, Mr. Mehzad. Thank you. So for the remembering his contact, you can add into the contact edit and make some pom there. So I would love to hear again and again that. Thank you. That was a really nice session. Wonderful picturization into the world. So thank you. Thank you.